We announced today the cutting of $3.4 million from the budget of the University of Nebraska at Kearney. It's part of an announcement that went from every campus today. Each had their own process, each had their own amount of money to cut. So our budget gap is 3.4, obviously from declining credit hour productions we went over earlier. We stood our own salary and benefit increases the last 2 years and will continue to do so. We had small inflations in utilities, and we are facing right now another 2% reduction that the governor's holding back for the third quarter, which is what we're in right now, starting in January, and then the fourth quarter, which ends in June of this year. The biggie here is the 4%. And that 4% is proposed to be a base cut, which means we're going to have to cut 4% every year from now on if the governor's proposal goes through. Right now, the governor's current proposal is to cut from us, to cut roughly 11 more million this year and 23 more additional dollars starting this summer. That's a huge cut. We're about a third of the state budget, the university system. No, we're less than that. We're 13% of that. We're taking a third of the cut. That's really disproportionate. Some would say not fair. I'm sure for a number of people it's going to be a wake-up call going, wow, I didn't know the budget was that bad. It is. You know, this is not a contrived problem. It's real. If they give us a 4% base cut, that'd be devastating to us. That's in the hands of the legislature, and that starts on Wednesday of this week. From the administration side of this, obviously we're going to propose to reduce the assistant to the senior vice chancellor for academic and student affairs. As you know, the merger of two colleges will free up a deanship as well as an associate dean and a stipend and an administrative associate. That's about $480,000. But I'll tell you, one of the hardest things I've ever done, I just did a few minutes ago with our athletic director, Paul Plinsky. We met with the 56 young men who are going to be impacted by this reduction. Baseball, men's golf, and men's tennis are going to finish out this season, but they're not going to participate again on our campus. Now, I'm telling you, for some people they go, that's just athletics, that's no big deal. Well, then you should have been in the room when Paul Plinsky told them that they're no longer going to get to do what they enjoy in life and probably the reason they're here. And that's to participate in baseball, men's golf, and men's tennis. At the end of this athletic season, academic season, the sports of men's tennis, men's golf, and baseball will be eliminated from the University of Nebraska at Kearney. We'll make every attempt to accommodate those students, make sure that we have them foremost in our mind in terms of giving them releases, honoring their scholarships for as long as they will attend the institution, and to be able to give them some advising and assistance in terms of academic and career advising. If they want to change institutions, to help them be able to do that and to accommodate their needs. This is not a day where we stand up and cheer.
As you can imagine, this is an unprecedented time in the history of the University of Nebraska at Kearney. We know that cutting the sports of baseball, men's golf, and men's tennis are earth-shattering, at least in the city of Kearney and beyond. But for me, you know, I look at this as a major change in the face of our athletic department that is something that we could not handle without looking at every obstacle and looking at every opportunity, and we were just at a point where we were making cuts on a regular basis the last few years, and we turned over every stone and tried to avoid any of these cuts to all measures possible, but we're at a point now where this difficult, gut-wrenching decision had to be made. When we were told that $450,000 was the figure we needed to reduce, we had no other choice but to put every sport on the table. And so as we looked at all 17 varsity sports, we knew right off the bat that our imbalance of males to female participants is off. So that took cutting any of our female sport programs right off the table. And so at that point, then we needed to look closer at our male sport programs. We went in closer looking at the male teams that we have in our sports sponsorships, and we know that it's a big deal to us to be able to participate in the MIAA. And one of the MIAA requirements is to have football, men's and women's basketball, and softball. So for us, that takes football and basketball off the table. So then that leaves us with 6 left. And so as we went through each sport and looked at travel, looked at operational costs, looked at scholarships, looked at the component of hosting home competition, at any time of the year, we came to the fact that, if we're going to have to go this deep, we need to do it all at once, and we need to take care of this. But at the same time, we were left with really only 3 sports, and that's the ones that we had on the table at the end.
We turned those young men's lives upside down. And that's not done lightly, but it clearly was something that we did face to face, and I think was the right thing to do and the right way to do it. We're doing this now. We're going to take these 3 and we're done with elimination. That doesn't mean the athletics isn't going to have other budget reductions, but there is no plans to eliminate any further sports. That's going to be visible. That's $450,000. Academic support, office associates, position and a half over in NSS, business and technology 1, workstation support specialist in the College of Ed, natural and social science. Those are lost opportunities. Those are lost capacity, lost expertise. That was $312,000 worth. Faculty reductions. All of these on this page are vacant positions. There's no one sitting on this page who's going to be given a notice and removed. But they have huge impacts on the colleges. You'll see a associate professor of economics, of iTech, teacher ed, some salary savings there. English, you'll see a professor and a lecturer, modern languages, music, artist, criminal justice, psychology, sociology, history, math, physics, and social work, as well as a lecturer in the library. All of those people had expertise. All of those people had a skill that we no longer have and will not be replacing. That's $1.5 million. Business and finance, an analyst, an emergency management director, that position's going, and a police officer. We are short on police officers now. They're going to be helping us on campus as same number of hours, just less people. Maintenance planner, grounds people, grounds keepers, custodial leaders. Losses that I think are huge to us, the campus architect, construction management, those are BRT cuts. We get to count them on our campus for our reduction purposes, but those people are primarily going to be managing other things and centralized, and we're going to lose their sole divided attention on this campus. Another one you see at the bottom there, I assume you can see that, is the decommissioning of the swimming pool. That pool is not very good. We all know that. Our swim team does swim at Kearney High School's new pool. It only cost us, I think, somewhere $56,000, $57,000 to keep the pool up every year. But that's not the issue. The issue is it's probably got close to $1 million of deferred maintenance that's going to have to be expended in the next 2 years in order to try to save money as we go along. That pool will be decommissioned. Now, there are classes to be taught. There's recreational swimming. We don't have all the answers. I'll readily admit that. We're going to have to look for agreements, relationships, collaborations with the Y, perhaps Kearney High, to do that. That's $800,000. Cuts are painful. They turn people's lives inside out for those that have a sitting job or are students that are impacted by our actions. But just because we're going to eliminate an open or a vacant position doesn't mean that is not damaging. That does not mean that it doesn't cause harm to the institution. It robs us from our capacity to teach. It hurts our expertise. It deprives some student of opportunities. It may make a class bigger, or it may mean that we don't offer it at all. You know, on one hand, you could walk in today and go, "Whew, that's not me. My name's not up on that board." But there's lots of things up on that board that's going to impact every one of us. And I hope we don't take that lightly.